Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Welspun Enterprises Q2 FY22 earnings conference call, hosted by DAM Capital Advisors Limited. As a reminder, all participants' line will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital Advisors Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Bilal. Good afternoon to all the participants on this call. Before we proceed to the call, let me remind you the discussion may contain forward-looking statements that may involve known or unknown risks, uncertainties, and other factors. It must be viewed in conjunction with our business risks that could cause future result performance or achievement to differ significantly from what it expressed or implied by such forward-looking statements. To take us through the results and answer your questions today, we have the senior management of Welspun Enterprises, represented by Mr. Sandeep Garg, Managing Director and CEO, Mr. Akhil Jindal, Group CFO and Head of Strategy, and Mr. Sanjay Sultania, Chief Financial Officer. We'll start the call with a brief overview of the past quarter by Mr. Garg and Mr. Jindal, followed by a Q&A session. I now hand over the call to Mr. Sandeep Garg. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mohit. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Welspun Enterprises Limited, I welcome you all for Q2 FY22 earnings call. Hope that you, your family, and colleagues are well and safe and are taking the necessary precautions. Let me start this call by welcoming on board Mr. Sanjay Sultania, the CFO of the Welspun Enterprises. For this call today, I will cover the key business highlights, and later Mr. Akhil Jindal will cover the key financial highlights. The world is coming back to normalcy in the aftermath of the second wave of COVID-19. It caused not only business disruptions, but also emotional distress to a lot of people, including some of our employees. I would like to salute the resilience of the entire team at Welspun Enterprise, which weathered the storm and is now geared for the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead. Let me quickly share key recent developments with you all. The total road asset portfolio of the company stands at rupees 12,000 crores as on 30th September 2021. Of this, the road HAM portfolio is 7 projects worth approximately 9,870 crores. Out of these 7 projects, 4 projects of around 4,600 crores have achieved PCOD or COD, and another project of over rupees 1,600 crores is very close to achieving PCOD. Additionally, one BOOT project of about rupees 2,122 crores is also at an advanced stage of implementation. The outstanding road EPC order book stands at approximately 7,835 as on 30th September 2021. The breakup of which is that approximately 5,300 crores in road and rupees 2,535 crores in water segment. Let me start with saying that our performance in this quarter was impacted by 3 factors. Firstly, the extended monsoon, across most of our projects. That meant the work was hampered for a longer period than our planned stoppages on historical trends. Secondly, most of you are aware that farmer agitation continues around NCR. This affected our construction activity on substantial length of Mukarba Chowk Panipat Road project. Happy to share that despite these uncontrollable events, we expect PCOD shortly for the project. However, work on the balance portion impacted by the agitation shall be taken up after the issue is resolved. Finally, the progress of our project at Tamil Nadu, that is Satanathapuram and Nagapattinam SNRP, has been affected by the non-availability of earth or sand for earth filling. This is a state-wide issue concerning permissions for mining the earth and has affected all the road projects in the state. The industry has made representations to the state government, NHAI, MoRTH on this matter. We are hopeful of a resolution, and in the meantime, we are tackling those portions of work such as structures which are not affected by the earth. I'm happy to share that the company received PCOD of the Chikhli-Tarsor Package 11A Section NH6 in Maharashtra, normally CTHPL, with the completion cost of about rupees 1,240 crores from NHAI on August 25th, 2021. This is the fourth road of our HAM portfolio which has achieved PCOD or COD. On the Anta Simaria project, which primarily consists of a bridge over River Ganga, access to the bridge from the Anta side has been impacted due to the multiple tracks in that area. Happy to share that through the intervention of PMO, both NHAI and Railways are trying to resolve the issue. Both the parties are actively addressing the issue, and we expect the resolution shortly. As an interim relief, authority has granted us 180 days extension of time, and we have applied and we expect further extensions of time on this project. We are also pleased to announce that with regard to 6-laning of Varanasi-Aurangabad NH2 project, our contract has come into effect following an agreement between NHAI and our client Soma Indus Varanasi-Aurangabad Tollway Private Limited. The contractual commencement date of the project is 30th September 2021. So we should see revenue from this project coming from this quarter onwards. The original contract value of this project is around 2,400 crores including GST. Following the agreement between our client and NHAI on the handover of right of way of additional 44 kilometers, we expect further addition to our contract value. This matter is presently under discussion between us and our client, and we will update you once this concludes. In the water segment, we have commenced execution on our first major order, namely the rural water supply project at the UP State Water Sanitation Mission under the centrally funded Namami Gange platform. We have made substantial progress in the first stage of DPR submissions and approvals thereof, the details of which we have shared in our press release. We expect to conclude the DPR approval stage soon and the execution to pick up further in Q3. Coming to the outlook, firstly, I would want to mention that considering the higher competitive intensity in the road bidding, we have been extremely selective in evaluating opportunities in this sector. However, on a parallel, we are evaluating feasibility of alternate business verticals such as railways to fuel the future growth. In this direction, we have submitted RFQs for 3 railway station development projects which are currently under evaluation. Also, I would like to mention that with the impetus being provided by the government for drinking water access under the Jal Shakti Ministry, Har Ghar Nal Se Jal scheme, we see a huge opportunity in this sector over the next 4 to 5 years. Welspun Enterprises will actively focus on projects under this scheme. We also continue to look at projects in sewage treatment plant and water recycling. The company will also continue to explore inorganic growth opportunities through a measured evaluation of risk-return parameters. Finally, I would want to say that having built a substantial portfolio of completed projects, the company will now explore opportunities for divestments in accordance with its policy of asset-light model and operational excellence. With this, I now hand over the call to Mr. Akhil Jindal for the financial highlights. Over to you, Akhil.
Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you everyone for joining in today. So firstly, I would like to just give you a small summary of the financial numbers that we announced last night. So clearly the revenues, we have seen a 25% growth in the H1 to almost 624 crores in comparison to the corresponding period last fiscal year. Now this growth has been seen largely on account of the total work done during this quarter. Though these numbers could have been far more better, but due to the reason that Sandeep mentioned, like monsoon continuity and certain force majeure events, the numbers are what they are, and we are hoping to recover quite a lot of this in the H2. The EBITDA for the first 6 months was around 75 crores, and if I compare it with the last year's number for the same period, this was almost the same at the same level. The cash PAT for the first 6 months is around 41.8 crores, and again this is comparable to the last year's number around the same period. Last year was a little more, but again it's comparable. The important thing is on the balance sheet side, our gross debt, which was 500 crore, which is let's say 500 crore today, is lower than 566 as we reported on 30th of June 2021. Our cash balance is a healthy cash balance of 343 crore compared to 95 crores as we announced in the June 30th 2021 call. And these are all the cash balance post the dividend payout of 22 crores that we did, which was attributable to the last financial year, but it has been done during this quarter. So the cash balance of 343 crores is after the 22 crores of dividend payment. On the investment side, I think we are inching very, very smoothly to some of the projects which are about to get complete. clearly the portfolio is quite healthy. And in that sense, with 4 HAM projects already completed, 5th one likely to get complete pretty soon, and the BOT project, which is also likely to see the PCOD, we would be almost done with almost 8,300 crores of the project completed out of a book of 12,000 crores. That means only 30% of a book, which going in the next financial year will be incomplete. Not a mean achievement for the company which has gone through all this, all this disruption during the last 12 months, 18 months due to external factor. And as a result, if our 70% of the book is almost complete, from an execution to operational zone, we feel quite comfortable around it. And exactly this is what is also reflecting in our our investment position. So out of our total investment, we have nearly done close to 2,121 crores. The balance investment left is only 180 crores. And this 180 crores is also after we have taken a price increase, cost escalation of nearly 50 odd crores in the SNRP project as per the NHAI guideline. So that means the significant substantial money that need to be invested is already invested. What is balance is only 180 odd crores, which is clearly much more. Our cash balance is 343, and to that extent, this is quite adequate. We have also invested 92 crores in the water assets, and other assets being 54 crores, oil and gas being 379, and the road assets, the boot is 575, and the HAM is 1021. So that's a breakup of 2121. We have provided the same breakup in our press release also that you must have seen, by now. And if there is any question regarding that, we will be happy to answer that. So I think all in all, we have kept the balance sheet at check. The rating has been kept at check. We have continued to be AA family rating, and in that sense, all our loans, everything, are being serviced in time. Our total loan is 500 crore gross, out of which 475 is a long-term loan, and the 25 is and other aspects, which also gets clubbed into the loan portion. So with this, I open the floor for the question answers. If there's anything that we have not covered in our opening statement, feel free to ask the question. The whole management team is here, including Sanjay, who has recently joined us. So a very warm welcome to you, Sanjay. We all are available as a management team to be able to answer any of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask any question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may please press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handset while asking a question. To ask a question, you may please press star and 1. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. We have a first question from the line of Rohit from Antique Stock Broking. Please go ahead.
Thank you for this opportunity. So my first question is on the outlook as such. Can you quantify what kind of execution are we considering that one in the first half we have done 600 odd crore?
So, Rohit, just to answer this question, I'll answer it in 2 forms. If you see historically last year to this year, we are about 25% higher, so we expect the same trend to continue on to H2. To enable that, as you may be aware, that may not be general knowledge, but we are strengthening the organization in addition to the Sanjay, whom I introduced on this call. There is Mr. Ajay Hans, who's also joined the company as CEO, and one Mr. Neeraj Gupta, who's also joined the company as Chief Operating Officer's role. So we are strengthening the organization to ensure the execution becomes stronger, and we anticipate the trends that have been in past between the ratios of H1 to H2 to continue this year as well.
Can we say Satyanapuram, this will be a year where we can do at least 500 crore revenue, and Panipat, Haryana, we can do 400 odd crore revenue?
So, Panipat, Mukarwa Chowk, I think will be determined by primarily how the farmer agitation pans out. So there is a substantial work which is stuck because of that. In terms of the turnover, the primary focus would remain NH2, which is the Varanasi-Aurangabad project, which is an EPC project and is absolutely ready for execution. So we are quite hopeful that that is where the majority of turnover will come from.
Question is on the order inflow part. We were L1 for that MCGM project, 35 billion MCGM project. So what is the status over there?
So we've been engaging with MCGM on this particular project where we are L1. However, we are still awaiting the final decision in the matter. We expect it to take a few months. This matter is finalized by MCGM.
Okay, sir. Then the Kerala Harmonia substitution, you were in talks with NHAI for a project. What is the situation over there?
We decided to stay away from it because of the delays that were taking place in the substitution and the appointed date having been taken for the project, so we were at risk of delays. So we decided to stay away from it.
So the last call, I believe, because we have had a conversation about the ramping up the execution to 3,000 crore kind of number by the year next, because for the order backlog that we have in hand and the deadlines to execute it, these numbers are anything but inevitable. So what is the outlook now as such for next year? I'm not talking about this year. Maybe this was a difficult year. Maybe next year, are we geared up?
So we have a very healthy order book to achieve that number. Obviously, we are reasonably confident that COVID is behind us, and hence we should be in a position to improve our execution abilities going forward with a healthy order book.
Sure, sir. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Anyone who wishes to ask any questions may please press star and 1. A reminder for the participant, to ask a question, you may please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Sudarshan, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, a couple of questions. One, Saurabh, last time I only asked about the run rate because you mentioned that 3,000 crore was the run rate, and you said Q3 would be 600 crores. What you expect? Are we on track, or do you think we will not be able to 600 crores?
So to answer the question, the situation is that the monsoon is extended right now, so there will be certain challenges, as you know, even in the October north as well as in the south. The monsoons have been extremely heavy. It also impacts our work on the River Ganga. So there is going to be some challenges. Hopefully the monsoon is now behind us, and then we should be able to ramp up. But obviously the October month has seen challenges continued of the monsoon, so that's going to impact the run rate for sure.
Somehow, I think we have been promising numbers. We have been telling the future outlook, call by call every time, and it's not getting reflected on performance. Like even this number, I think H1 of last year and H1 of this year is not comparable because the Q1 last year was complete lockdown. And if you are commenting that H1 of this year you have shown a growth versus H1 of last year, whereas comparable would be Q2 to Q2, and Q2 you have degrown. So I somehow, and even if you really see the number of road projects active, Anta Simaria anyway because of conflict with railway, the works is stopped. Your Sanatanpuram Nagapattinam because of the earth issue, the work is not going as the pace what we would want. Varanasi Aurangabad, you just got the commencement date. So it looks like that we have nothing very active on the road project, and where we are reading almost on a regular basis various companies getting awards. We are being very selective, which we have been all along. Suddenly our order book looks very dried up. Third, on the UP project, now election coming up, we don't know how the things are going to move there. So are we looking at dry spell in the future?
So no, see, just to answer your question, the reality is that certain orders which were expected to start off did not start off in the time, and this is an industry-wide phenomenon. In terms of the monsoon, I'm sure we've heard it from multiple sources that there are challenges most of the companies are facing. So to that extent, these are issues which are not controllable by the management. We do try and control to the extent they are possible. In terms of your Varanasi project, you are right, it has just started. We have worked very hard to get to that project. So we are well prepared to hit the ground running. In terms of the water project, yes, there is likely to be an election, but I think with the orders or the DPRs approved of approximately 800 crores for us, I don't think that should be a challenge going forward for execution. However, these are issues that nobody controls. We will have to deal with the situation as it comes.
But to be very honest, Saurabh, I think I'm sure as a management also you may be looking your strategy, but something needs to change because we have been missing our performance on a very regular basis, and that is getting reflected in our stock price. If you really compare any other good infra companies, their stock prices has moved pretty substantially, whereas we have degrown even on the stock price, and we are now valued actually lower than our net worth. So I think we'll have to we have to think slightly out of box to see how the things can improve from here.
Sure. This is a valid point, and as I said, we are looking at alternatives. We don't want to be seen playing in a very highly competitive environment, and whilst other companies' strategies are theirs, our strategy has always been that we will grow the company with the bottom line focus. So we are looking at alternates where we can create better value rather than just trying to stick to a particular sector where the competitive intensity is extremely high. And I'm sure you are investors in this sector, so you would be seeing these competitive bid intensity being extremely high, which is even a worrisome issue for the client themselves. So I think as a investor, you would want to advise the management to look at alternative out-of-the-box solutions rather than get into the same race where everybody is racing on the only a price point being lower than the other one.
Also, I think just to add on to what Sandeep has said, clearly, the challenge that are seen in the industry were visible to us, and that's the reason why there has been a bit of a lateral change of taking a good, substantial, profitable outside EPC work, in the terrain and in the region that we know, and also to get into the water. So if you see the last two events that has happened in the company, they have been in that direction, because if the road sector is becoming over competitive, and for no rhyme or reasons that the med race has started once again, despite a lot of people suffering in the past and new people not learning out of those mistakes, the company shifted gear, and we have now got into the third party EPC in the water, and also as Sandeep mentioned, the railways is another part which is being evaluated very, very strongly. So I know few quarters has been some disappointment for both the company as well as for the market, but I think there has been always a thinking cap active, and we are trying to get into the zone where, let's say, all this profitability that we promise and what we think gets delivered quarter after quarter, rather than just like a one-time event. So thank you for your feedback. We really appreciate that, and I just wanted to tell you some action that being taken by the company, and we'll keep on looking at such new avenues, for the sustainable and the profitable growth.
Only one last feedback, because I don't want this to be one-to-one. Last feedback, I think somewhere my personal, because I am invested in all three of your company, Welspun Enterprises, somehow I see a lot of gap between what you say and what you perform, which is not the case with your other two companies. So maybe you would like to relook that.
Yeah, appreciated that. I think also let's accept that the COVID had a severest impact on this company. So,
No, I'm talking about for not just COVID. I'm discussing even before COVID.
Sure.
Okay.
We will have a relook at it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. A reminder for the participant, to ask a question, you may please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Meet Vora from DAM Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the opportunity. So, sir, I had a couple of questions. Regarding our run rate of execution, we have an order book of 78 billion, and our revenue run rate is close to 24 billion. So how soon do we expect it to ramp up or go to, say, for example, 30 billion?
So obviously the attempt would be to ramp it up in the next year. We are strengthening the organization accordingly. We are diversifying into water. We have already diversified, and we are also getting into the EPC third-party projects. So all these should start showing reflect in the revenue growth as well as the profit growth in the next year is what our anticipation is.
Sure, sir. And on the road side, what is our outlook from NHAI in terms of bidding and tendering that they are going to carry out this year? And what part have we bid out, or what are we expecting as a part of our order inflow from that?
So we have practically stayed away from bidding for last quarter, couple of quarters, primarily because all the bids are going at a price levels that we can't even sustain. So it's a considered decision until the competitive intensity does not ease up. We are going to stay away from these projects because we genuinely believe that there is hardly any money to be made. And we are diversifying in terms of our offerings to the market in terms of the third-party EPC contracts, both in road and water, as well as looking at adjacencies where we believe there's still substantial money to be made.
Okay. And so then, on the waterfront, what is our outlook? Like, say, for example, in terms of our ordering scope and our ordering outlook, and the number, if you can give, what ordering inflow are we expecting?
So the first order inflow in the water side which we are working towards is the order of MCGM, which is a substantially big order of about 3,500 odd crores. And we are bidding for certain other projects in the water sector, and we expect at least one of those projects to crystallize in this financial year.
Okay. So a follow-up question on that: this MCGM order, which you are saying, has not yet been finalized, right? So when do we expect it to get finalized?
I think it will take at least couple of more months for the MCGM to decide the order. So the process is on. However, we are not accounting that this order is under the belt. So without this order under the belt, we have a reasonably healthy order book of about 8,000 crores. We are not extremely hungry for the project orders at this point in time.
Okay. Okay. Sure, sir. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Anyone who wishes to ask any question may please press star and one. The next question is from the line of Rohit from Antique Stock Broking. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the follow-up. So my question is on the Lucknow railway station project. We were bidding, if I'm not mistaken, we are part of that bidding process. What exactly is the situation over there?
So at this point in time, the government is kind of restructuring how they will execute these projects. So we are under the pre-qualification stage. We believe that we will get pre-qualified and will participate in the bidding process. However, the government itself is now reconsidering about the entity that will take these station redevelopment projects forward. So we will have to wait for the government to decide which entity takes it forward, and then only can we go in for RFP.
How much do you want your balance sheet to have exposure to that particular segment?
So we will want to first look at the final concession documents that they are coming up and the part of scope of development that they will participate, because this is something which is evolving at this point in time. Once we know the concession agreements that are being finalized and the real estate component and the station development component as to how the split is, will be the exposure that we would want to take on our balance sheet.
Sir, one more question on the oil and gas front. Considering the prices that we have seen right now, is there any relook into that oil and gas assets as such? What is the status over there?
So oil and gas, as I said last time, we expect we are right now evaluating the reserves certification process is on, so that we know what the reserves are and how the reserves are going to behave. That particular action is on. The situation is that post-December we will come up with a field development plan if this is something which which is the way that we decide to move forward, and that will determine the next actions on oil and gas. Happy to share that we are in a very healthy position in terms of that particular sector. We expect the results to be better than what we originally estimated.
So finally, my question comes back to the asset monetization part. You have stressed this point today as well and earlier as well. If I'm not mistaken, you were earlier planning to do some refinancing of the expensive loans first, or maybe do some structuring within the PCOD assets and then bring them out for monetization. So what stage are we in all those phases?
Yeah. So Rohit, if I may address this, the refinancing is something that goes on continuously. So, for example, we completed the 2 PCODs refinancing, so as and when the project achieve PCOD, we start talking to the banks, and by the time the first annuity comes, the rating would have happened and the refinancing would. So it normally takes around 3 to 6 months time from the PCOD date. So all the projects which have achieved PCOD, they have been refinanced. And but for the particularly Tasor project which has got recently commissioned, there we are in discussion with our lenders, and very shortly our target is to get it refinanced within this calendar year, probably by December itself. And as far as the top-up loan is concerned, at a company level we are being ultra conservative and not drawing the top-up loan, although it's sanctioned by NHAI, and also it is being let's say sanctioned by the bank. So both in GSY and CGRG, the 2 projects where we achieved PCOD last year, and we did the refinancing and the entire work, let's say by March. The top-up loans are sanctioned, but we have not yet taken the disbursement of them. That is something which is pending at our end, and we would like to wait and watch till we draw that top-up loan. As far as the monetization is concerned, now we have a substantial assets portfolio, the whole bouquet, where we have 5 assets, as I mentioned to you, 4 completed, 1 about to get complete. So almost 6,200 crore on the HAM side, and another BOOT project which is, as Sandeep mentioned, round the corner for the PCOD. So together 8,300, 8,400 crore as a project cost is something that is now available to us to be offered as a platform, and we are going to be in active dialogue with the prospective bidder, because this is a size which attracts the right kind of a partners, right kind of a investors. Selling the small asset one by one is not something that is very prudent. But we have realized that now, since we have almost over $1 billion as a size to offer, clearly we can attract the serious and I would say larger players. And to that extent, we are hopeful that by the end of this financial year, we would be definitely be in a position to sign the definitive agreement, if not receiving the money by March. So this is our endeavor. We have got good 5 months to work on. The team is very seriously working on all the front, and I believe that we are in good dialogues with some of the prospective buyers, and we would have some news to share with you, let's say in the quarter 4.
Sure, sir. Thank you for all those insights, sir. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Rohit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone who wishes to ask any question may please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital. Please go ahead.
Yes. Good evening, sir. So on the monetization part, are we looking to keep some stake in that entity, or you're looking to offload a very large stake and be a minority in that particular, asset monetization plan? Or can you please comment on that?
I think our preference, Mohit, will be to do the 100% exit as may be allowed by NHAI, as may be allowed by the regulator. Wherever the regulator doesn't allow an exit because of some time limitation, we might have a structure where we may end up holding it for the time being with a clear route that they would be 100% exit as and when allowed by the regulator. This is in line with our well laid out policy for the last 3 years, that as a developer, when the role ends and the project is operational, we would like to monetize them. We would like to sell them 100%. And as I mentioned earlier, now with the substantial assets bouquet, we are in a better position to offer it to the market.
So with $1 billion, I think the InvIT is also a real possibility. So are we exploring that route or not? InvIT
is also one of the possibilities which we have evaluated, but I think our preference would be again to to give it to the investors who either have an InvIT or are planning to form their own InvIT, and it could be an InvIT rather than us floating our own InvIT and then, with InvIT, if we do ourselves, it would not be 100% monetization as I mentioned to you earlier. So to that extent, I think the preference would be to look at the third-party investor rather than floating our own InvIT, though we have evaluated that option also internally.
So on the EPC side, as you said that you're trying to build capabilities or you're trying to bid in the areas where you are not there, are we building capabilities in some of the newer areas, and which are those areas? And have we already have you hired a team or something, to build those capabilities?
So as we said, we are looking at alternate transportation. One of the areas is definitely railways, as we talked about, and we are looking at all the adjacencies where we believe that there is the skill sets are transferable, and we need smaller teams to build up. However, we are building up the team on the sector of railway for sure.
So does TOT or BOT make sense for you, or do you think it's not for us?
So BOT is something that we will look at it. However, we are a bit skeptical about the greenfield BOTs. So we would look for something which has a historical background. So as you know, NCP RP or Mukabra Chowk Panipat is a BOT toll project, and that's something which synergizes because it has enough history of tolling.
So my question was with respect to, of course, there are a couple of NHAI bids expected to come in this fiscal on the BOT space. TOT, of course, there is a large, there are at least 3 or 4 bids which are open right now. And then there's a Ganga Expressway. Of course, this is a greenfield, completely greenfield. So do you think in the priority in your basket set, does any of this fit into your opportunity size? Or would you like to participate in those bids?
So we would definitely look at the NHAI BOT projects to ascertain the risk and reward profile, and if it makes sense for us, we shall try attempt those projects. I don't think TOT synergizes with our asset-light model, so we will stay away from at least at this point in time from TOT. Coming to the greenfield BOT projects, that's one line we need to be very extremely cautious about, because there are no histories, and then we are taking estimate on how much of traffic will get diverted on those roads, which becomes a very difficult assumption, and it could go wrong tremendously. So we think we are skeptical about it, but we keep on looking at those opportunities for sure.
And sir, last question, sir, on the timeline for the EPC work on the UPJJM. Are we I think we won this order, I think a few months back, and it looks like there is no execution as of now. So when do you expect execution to pick up? And is there any risk that the UP election will delay the work? And related question is that are there JJM contracts open in the entire country at this point of time where we would like to bid?
So, 2 things I would want to say. Number one, that the process itself of the UPJJM projects was they will have an empanelment, and then we needed to create DPRs, which will finally get approved, and then the project will come into execution phase. So happy to share that the DPR approvals has now taken place in the last 5-6 months, and the projects are now in the executable shape. I do not expect any adverse challenges on these projects during the phase of election, because it's for the good of the masses, and I think it's a social project. So we expect that the social environment and the governments will support this through the election phase. However, we will see as it evolves. The third point that you said was that are we going to look at other states? For sure, where we feel that the projects are of substantial nature, we will look at those projects. We cannot be executing very small value contracts. That's something that we will not participate in.
Yes, so my question was also, are there large tenders in JJM available at this point of time? And do you think H2?
There are. Odisha is coming up, the MP is coming up, Rajasthan is coming up, so the Maharashtra is coming up. So there are enough. This is going to be across the pan India rather than specific to a state platform.
Understood, sir. Thank you and all the best, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was the last question for today. I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for their closing comments. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, and I really appreciate your participation in this investor call. I can assure that Welspun will continue its journey of operational excellence on an approximately 12,000 crores of portfolio. We are now focused on value unlocking through recycling of the capital. I thank you for the questions, and if there are any queries you may see unanswered, please feel free to get in touch with our investor relationship team, who would be happy to respond to your questions. Thank you and good day.
Thank you very much, Participant. On behalf of DAM Capital Advisors Limited, that concludes this conference call. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line.
Thank you.